Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. And today, we're going to talk about oxalate dumping and a little bit about cholesterol. Make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm going to give you my top 2 tips for healing yourself when you don't feel well. But first, let me welcome everyone to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm very glad you're here. Those of you that are returning, as always, I am very glad you're here as well. As you'll notice, I expected to be out at the park today, but I'm not. It is 2:45 in the afternoon. So I'm recording this just as yesterday's video is getting ready to drop today. But not only am I not out at the park, you'll notice I'm walking pretty slow. Which is why I chose to talk about oxalates today. Oxalate dumping. How long can it last? Because, as you saw, I'm now one day beyond my 6-month anniversary on carnivore. So you'd think all the oxalate dumping would be done. But it's not. It's still hanging in there. Because the reason I got up this morning, it was 7:30 in the morning because the park opens at 8. And I wanted to be over there right at 8 o'clock in the morning while it was still cool out, because it's quite warm out this afternoon. It's 82 or 83 degrees. Right now the sun's behind a cloud, but it's been beaten down all day. It's been really hot just laying in the trailer, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But I got up, got all my stuff together, was ready to go to the park, decided I better use the restroom before I go. And as I got finished in the restroom, I noticed that my lower back on the right-hand side was hurting a little bit. It took me a few minutes to realize, what's with all the traffic? It's not time to get off work yet. Sorry about all the traffic noise there. I'll be turning the corner up here pretty soon. But I'm stuck walking slow because you guys remember that little kidney stone I had a couple of weeks back that I barely noticed? Well, his big brother came calling today. Now, I can see you guys, not my regulars, but other people diving right down into the comments at this point going, see, carnivore causes kidney stones. No, it doesn't. A vast majority of kidney stones are calcium oxalate. And the oxalates are crystals. And I was doing a little research before I came out to make this video, watching a few doctors talking about oxalates. And while the oxalate dumping you have that can cause what's commonly referred to as the keto flu early, those oxalates that are, basically being stored in your gut tend to come out very quickly. But you can have calcium oxalate build up inside your kidneys for a really long time. And the carnivore diet slowly shrinks them. And then when they get small enough to be moved out, which is what your body's trying to do with anything that has oxalate in it, and because they're so sharp, they can create a lot of pain. And I'd sort of forgotten how bad that can get, because I was curled up on my bed. I took a pain pill, and it was still really bad. You're supposed to wait 4 hours before you take another one, but I cut that in half and took another one 2 hours later, because I did do some reading on that, and while not common, 2 of them can be a standard dose for someone that deals with a lot of pain. So I felt fairly safe in taking a second one, after 2 hours. And I still hurt. I was curled up in a ball, had the heating pad on my back, was really on the verge of going into the church building and asking someone to take me to the hospital. And then I did what I probably should have done much earlier. I prayed about it. And you can believe this or not believe it. It is entirely up to you. I'm not trying to push my beliefs on you. I'm just telling you what happened. I prayed about it, and literally within 3 minutes, I won't say the pain was gone, but it was back down to a tolerable level, to where I knew it was on the move and about to be gotten rid of. Because if you've had a lot of kidney stones, you can tell about where they're stuck and grinding on the inside of you. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, not a lot of you, but some of you are going to say, that's just the second pain pill taking effect, Bob, and you were laying on a heating pad. Of course it got better. And that could very well be. I choose to believe that God heard me and put a little buffer on the pain. Which is why I'm walking really slow today. But I didn't, because I had a technical difficulty a couple of days ago, I didn't want to miss another day of talking to my favorite people, which is you guys. So, just be warned, if you have a history of kidney stones, you might go along just fine like I did for 6 months. And then out of the blue, have a kidney stone. And the one doctor that I was listening to was saying that if you've been heavily poisoning yourself with oxalates over the years. Oh, quick side note, one thing I did not know, and why the vegan lifestyle can cause more oxalate buildup than anything else. I did not know that dairy can buffer and cancel the effects of some of the oxalates you're putting in your system. Which is why spinach is a high oxalate food and not so good for you from that standpoint. But if you cook the spinach in butter or some other dairy fat, I don't know exactly how it is, and I don't remember who it was I was listening to. I listened to so many this morning. But the dairy binds to the oxalates and takes it on out of your system. You do still get some buildup, but not nearly as much. So keep that in mind. But on the carnivore diet, your oxalates will slowly your body will slowly get rid of the oxalates. But this same doctor said it can take decades for all of them to go away, especially those that are hiding in the diamond hard form of calcium oxalate crystals inside the kidneys and inside the gallbladder. And there's a few other places she said they accumulate. I don't remember what they were. But yeah, sorry I'm jumping around a bit, but I've had kind of a rough morning. And I'm still under the effects of painkillers. So sometimes I don't quite finish my thoughts. But the reason, I talked about the butter, the dairy, buffering the oxalates. That's why I believe vegans need to be careful with the oxalates, and why so many of them quit within the first 5 years citing critical health failure is because when you go vegan, you eliminate that dairy. And that dairy is what's been buffering you. See, the sun came out from behind the clouds. Has been buffering you from a lot of the ill effects of those oxalates. One of the other things I want to talk about today is cholesterol. I was watching a Bart K video, and nobody had ever said it quite like this. And the more you think about it, the more logical it seems. And the better I feel about my LDL being slightly elevated. He said, yes, you still want to get your HDL up and your triglycerides down, and that's the ratio you need to look at. I think he said 2-to-1. A lot of people get better than that. But he said total cholesterol is a meaningless number, and LDL is not necessarily a meaningless number, but there are 0 studies linking high LDL to any coronary diseases. None. But the thing he said that made so much sense to me, he's like, now I believe in creationism, so I don't go quite as far back as he does, but I want to make sure I get his quote right. And it's not exactly a quote, because I'm never going to get this word for word. But the basic, I got to turn the camera around, that sun's directly behind me. But he said that our bodies have been evolving over hundreds of thousands of years And we're still here. Look at all the other things that taking exogenous carbohydrates out of your system does for you. I mean, I made a whole video about it yesterday, so you can back and watch that. But if you take all of the things that eating a proper human diet does for you, doesn't it make sense that your genes that control everything else know what they're doing when it comes to cholesterol? Because again, remember, there are no studies, no legitimate studies, that actually show a link between high LDL and heart disease. It's just not there. So, and I know Dr. Bickman and a few others are working on some research to explain the, they call it, what is it? Cholesterol hyper-responders or something like that. The people that have their LDL shoot sky high. But all their other labs are normal. And then there are some that their LDL stays about the same. And on the other end of that bell curve, there's also a small percentage of people whose LDL goes down. But if we think about all the other healing that our bodies are doing, doesn't it make sense that our body probably knows what level of all the cholesterols, especially LDL, is right for us? You know, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. But it makes sense to me that that's right. And if you've gotten everything else under control, you know, like I have diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, gout, kidney disease, liver disease, all that other stuff. I gotta pause while those trucks go by. But doesn't it make sense that your body knows what it's doing with cholesterol? Can you really honestly sit there and say, oh, well, even though the body is really smart about all this other stuff and can heal all your other problems, it doesn't know what it's doing with cholesterol. We got to take care of that ourselves. I'm going to have to call BS on that. That just seems like crazy talk to me. But I think I'm going to try and do one more lap today, just to make sure nothing tightens up on me from not walking much. But I can feel myself wearing down a little bit. I'm hoping that a good night's sleep tonight will fix that, and I can get out to the park tomorrow. There's supposed to be a little storm rolling through tonight, just after sundown. and the temperature is supposed to drop down 10 or 15 degrees, which will make it much more pleasant. Because I'm actually kind of itching to get back out on the trail with my backpack and everything. Oh, and for the couple people that asked, I did add a link down in the description to the backpack I got. So if you want to take a quick look at that, you can. I don't think the pictures on the website do it justice, but it'll give you some idea what I'm doing. And that backpack, I forget exactly. I don't know if it was Dan Becker or one of the other guys. There's 3 or 4 backpacking gear channels that I follow. And the one I bought actually made it as number 2 on, I think his list was top 5 budget backpacks. So you can take that for what it's worth. Pretty much like everything else I say, not a whole lot. But I'm going to try and get one more lap in. The mileage is not going to be super high today. Because, I mean, this morning during the 2.5, 3 hours of intense pain, I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to stand up and give you guys a video. So, it is what it is. How long have I been walking for? Yeah, I'm walking pretty slow. We're at about the 21-minute mark here. And I've only got 2 laps in. And I normally get somewhere between 2.5 and 3 laps in the 20-minute mark. Because somewhere in there is where the mile is at. So I'm going to stop guessing about distances, because as we've seen in several videos, I'm terrible at guessing how far I've gone. Even if I look at my watch, I'm guessing the total of this thing's going to be about 1.5 miles or so. But we'll see. Anyway, I'll give you some final thoughts. So stick around to the end, or fast forward past the music section if you're not really into the music section. Either way, but for now, let's cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. I have to tell you, I feel a lot better. I don't feel like I want to walk anymore. But overall, I feel a lot better than I did when I started this walk. So now I'm going to give you, I just thought of this while I was walking around. I'm going to give you my top 2 tips for feeling better when something ails you. Number 1, get out and do some light exercise. Don't overdo it, but just get some light exercise and get some sun while you're doing it. Tip number 2, don't eat. Digestive system uses some of your immune system, and we want our immune system focused solely on whatever problem is ailing us that day. So get out, get some light exercise, get some sun, and don't eat anything that day. Let your body heal itself. Don't forget to get out there and get 1% better today, folks. Should be a video over here for the entire October challenge. Another one over here that you've never seen before. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.